Everybody, welcome to BPR. You're with me, Britpop1, and BP2 over there, Britpop2.
Yep. I stood on my cable.
I was going to say, you threw me, mate. I even changed my intro because you were looking down at your nads or something. We are here when F-16 Falcons ate Hawks for breakfast is the view. F-16s, mate. They are the ball baggers of military.
Well, that's one way to sum them up.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been watching a few videos just on the shorts, YouTube shorts. I love the pilots when they come up, and the two guys that are, or girls, guys, don't quote me on that. They give the old fist pump before they get on, and it's a good watch.
They got a good old sort of set routine, haven't they? And the salute, off they go, and wave them on. But okay, so when F-16s ate Hawks for breakfasts, okay, which Hawks are these then?
I don't know. It starts off with 1994, I can see on the screen. So let's
find
out what it's all about. This is from Yarn Hub.
All right.
The early morning of February the 28th, 1994, and 6 volunteer pilots are on a bombing mission in violation of a NATO no-fly zone. The leader of the flight is pilot Ranko Vukmirovic from the Bosnian Serb Air Force. He and his men are in Yastreb J-21 jets, which are no match for the NATO F-16s in speed, maneuverability, or weapons. The Yastreb pilots are trying to keep below radar height, but now, with the target getting close, they're forced to ascend to 2,000 meters to start the attack run on a weapons factory. In doing so, the aging Serbian jets light up the watching NATO radars. 50 miles away, 2 patrolling F-16s are informed of the J-21's presence.
Black Flight, you have 6 bogeys. BRAA 320 for 52 and 7,000.
I love the fact this is AI.
Yeah.
Or CGI, whatever. One month ago, so I'm assuming this is a AI and CGI. It's brilliant.
Very, very well done, isn't it?
It is so far.
Flanking. Copy that.
The F-16s bank towards the target. In an attempt to shorten the war, NATO has set up a no-fly zone, and the F-16s have been sent on a route to intercept.
Right.
Vukmirovic gets a visual on his target and arms his bombs.
I'm sure.
The flight positions themselves in pairs, one after the other, when suddenly a transmission comes through the radio. A pit grows in Vukmirovic's stomach.
Oh, yeah.
He can clearly see the trails of the 2 American Air Force jets dead ahead of them. He takes a deep breath. In previous missions, the American jets have only watched and warned the enemy, but not engaged. Vukmirovic knows if the F-16s had wanted to shoot him, they could have done so from miles away. But his eyes go wide as he sees the 2 F-16s approach at breakneck speed and roar through and past the Bosnian Serb flight.
Jesus. Did you see those old Yugos?
Despite the show of force, the Serbian pilots are not distracted and keep their eyes on their objective. The Yastrebs are old tech and still use optical sights. And as the target drifts into the crosshairs, the aging planes release and drop their rudimentary but effective 550-pound bombs on target, striking them from different directions.
They dropped bombs. Understood. You're clear to engage. Weapons free. Roger, moving to engage. This is going to be shooting fish in a barrel.
At the very rear of the formation, pilot Zlatan Sirnalic watches the last of the bombs strike.
Shouldn't have dropped
The 6
them bombs.
J-21s turn back towards their airbase,
I bet
but their speed is no match for the F-16s, who sweep in behind them, lining up their sights on the very rear of the formation. The pilot switches to air-to-air mode and selects an AIM-120 missile on his right display computer. On his head-up display, a box designates the target. The F-16 pilot gets a lock and presses the weapons release button.
Box 3.
The missile flies off from the wingtip. The AIM-120 AMRAAM radar-guided missile fires and locks onto the running J-21's radar signature, rapidly approaching its target. Sirnalic is scanning the skies for the Americans when he sees an enormous flash. He wonders if he's been hit, but then he sees the explosion on his wingman's left wing, immediately shredding half of it off.
It was very well done.
The 5 remaining J-21s turn over and dive for the ground. One of the F-16s gives chase, following them all the way down into the valleys between the Bosnian hills. Each pair of J-21s goes its own way, leaving Sirnilic completely on his own. He frantically looks over his shoulder as he flies through the terrain, catching the terrifying sight of an American fighter hot on his heels.
Fox 2.
The F-16 fires an AIM-9 Sidewinder heat-seeking missile.
On Sidewinder now.
Heat-seeking, yeah.
It locks on to Sirnilic's hot engines and chases him down across the sky.
With the heat sink,
Sirnilic, flying low, skims over some electrical transmission wires.
He's done well. Oh no, he has.
The missile explodes near the wires and his tail, cutting part of his vertical stabilizer. But he's still flying. He reports the situation, but finds his radio completely dead. Alone and vulnerable,
What would you do?
Sirnilic looks over his shoulder.
Well, I mean, you can only eject, can't you, by now? You're not going to outrun them.
Depends where
You're
you
not
are.
going to outgun them. Yeah, I mean, they're obviously over Serbian territory as well, so that's not a good one.
I mean, you're going down anyway, aren't you? Really? I mean, you can't outrun it.
No.
So,
I mean, if you eject, the F-16 pilot wouldn't shoot you out of the air because that's against the NATO treaty, isn't it? So you can't shoot a man after he's ejected.
fair enough. What about if you accidentally fly straight into it?
Well, there is.
No, I'm only joking. That would be an incredible shot anyway.
Expecting a second impact at any moment.
Yeah.
But instead, he sees the F-16 turning away. Back with Mikerevic, he and his wingman push their aircraft to their limits, racing through the valleys. But the F-16 relentlessly closes the distance.
Feels like watching Top Gun, isn't it?
It is.
He releases another AMRAAM missile, which rockets towards its target. Mikerevic is still looking across the sky to catch a glimpse of an enemy fighter when the missile flies in and disintegrates his wingman. The Yastreb explodes into flame and scrap. He breaks into evasive maneuvers once again as the F-16 fires another missile. It slams straight into his engines. The explosion shreds the fuselage and flames pour out of the holes. He wrestles the dying aircraft, pulling hard on the stick and willing it to ascend as it burns all around him. As flames engulf the cockpit, Mikerevic pulls the canopy emergency handle and ejects. The F-16 roars past as Mikerevic parachutes safely down. The F-16s continue towards the next pair of targets. They swap positions with the covering F-16 diving into action, armed with a fresh set of missiles. But their fuel is running low, and in a few minutes, they'll be forced to turn back.
Wow.
Approaching bingo fuel. 2 bandits trying to escape. I may be able to get 1 shot. Roger that.
South of the F-16 pair, Vukmirovic and his wingman, Goran Zaric, have been forced to hear their friends taken down one by one in rapid succession. Any hope they have is crushed by the sight of an F-16 appearing over the hills behind them.
Oh no.
The pair break formation as the American jet sweeps in. With just enough fuel left to make it back, the F-16 gets aloft.
Fox 2.
I was going to say, he's not far behind.
Vukmirovic sees the missile launch off the rail and turn toward him. He turns hard, trying to outmaneuver it. But it's no use. It rapidly approaches from his right and explodes just off his wing. He's stunned, but the fragmentation does no significant damage. He looks back, expecting more, but instead, the F-16 pulls off the chase, out of fuel.
That's the job, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Might be, big and stronger, but if you haven't got the fuel, and these bad boys have, then I suppose that you don't know how long they would already been in the sky for, the F-16s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, they'll be sort of flying past, they'll be burning more fuel flying past and coming around, you know, to catch up all the time. But it's interesting, like I say, these guys here, apart from the bombs that they drop, they've no air-to-air weaponry or anything like that. They've not even put out any chaff or anything like that to try and... So very, very rudimentary and basic, weren't they? But,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was just like you say, bombers, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
But NATO command has dispatched 2 more F-16s.
2 more. Oh, no.
Bugmirovic looks back up.
2 incoming.
2 J-21
Run.
scramble for speed,
Becky.
diving down as far as they dare into the valleys. They skim the treetops, racing between the hills, with the F-16s all the while shadowing them and keeping up. They look over their shoulders to see the F-16s closing the gap. There's nothing they can do to come out on top. In desperation, Bugmirovic tries a last-ditch idea.
Land.
He turns straight towards a cliff at maximum speed. Zaric keeping close formation behind him.
Yeah.
This is a bit like the story of
His heart
Top Gun
races
2,
as the
wasn't
2 jets head straight towards the Earth.
Pull off at last minute. I hope you got your...
The 2 pilots pull their controls as hard as they can. Zaric is crushed down by the G-forces as the ground rapidly approaches his windshield. Bugmirovic's jet clips the ground and bursts into flames.
Oh, dearie me. What a stupid move.
I mean, will that throw
Zaric
the
looks back.
F-16 off?
There's no parachute.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, your decision, mate. Made them muck up
The
that.
F-16s burst through the smoke,
Now
still
you're
in
in trouble.
pursuit.
Now you got 2-1.
He pulls back into a dive, rushing to use the terrain as cover. But they're far too close.
Box 2.
The missile closes the gap and explodes into Zaric's tail.
Once you hear that noise, mate.
His fighter bursts into flames, and he loses all control. He releases a canopy and ejects, but he's far too low. The parachute has no time to open, and he falls into the fireball of his own crashed jet.
All the places! I suppose it's
no.
instant, isn't it? You haven't got a log, have you? You've got
Splash 1.
seconds to...
There's another bandit on the radar. Engaging.
The
the
F-16s
one's
leave the
still
scene
flying, is
and
it?
catch
Yeah,
up to
still
another
that one,
J-21
remember?
flying low
When
over the
they left.
countryside. It's Cernalic, limping his damaged jet home
That's right,
to
yeah.
safety. He's keeping an eye on his gauges when an F-16 roars past. He's filled with dread and immediately
Yep.
pulls on the stick. His only plan is to gain enough altitude to eject before the American can finish him off. The F-16 gets behind him, and he grabs the canopy emergency handle. But then, the F-16 pulls up alongside, matching his speed. He locks eyes with the enemy pilot. The American salutes him and flies away. Out of the 6 Yastreb pilots that volunteered for that dangerous mission, 3 never returned home. Cernalic would later say, "I don't have any bad feelings towards the American pilots."
Oni su imali svoj zadatak, mi smo imali svoj.
This event is usually referred to as the Banja Luka incident and represents the first NATO combat engagement in its history. Robert Wilbur Wright was credited with 3 victories, the highest score by a USAF pilot in a single mission since the Korean War, while pilot Stephen Yogi Allen was credited with 1 victory.
God help them if we use our F-117s.
Haha, niko nam nije rekao da je ne vidljiv. Pogledaj ovaj film i vidi kako je oboren F-117.
F-117.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
yeah, you know, that was, I guess, you know, one pilot showing respect to another. He was limping home.
Yeah, you could have taken him out.
Easily, yeah, probably, and that was it. Probably wasn't a fair fight, so he said, you know, go home and tell your comrades about not messing with us. But
Yeah, don't mess with us, yeah.
very, very interesting video there.
Oh,
and
brilliant
I'd say
video. I thought it
Impressed
was
to know
excellent.
how that was created. I mean,
Look at that. Brilliantly done.
I mean, and they matched all the sound, all the all the effects and everything, the voicing. I don't know who done that, but fair play to you.
Yeah, Yarn Hub, very, very good. I suppose, yeah, I like that. I like the saying that we had our own mission and they had theirs.
Yes,
as if to say, they both had your own objectives.
Fair and love and war, innit? That's it.
Yeah,
they did their bit. No hard feelings. We set out to take out the target. We did that. They set out to sort of defend it and take us down, which they did.
Proved the point. Okay, the old F-16, mate, is a cracking old plane.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks hard as nails, doesn't it?
It does.
It just looks sharkish, doesn't it? When it comes in, it looks like a predator.
Yeah, it is good. All right,
Nice.
There you go. A little military one for you on the channel. We do like the military ones and the history.
Yeah.
So if you've got something for us, do let us know in the comments. Or if there's one out there you think we should be definitely doing, you can always head over to buymeacoffee.com/BritPopsReact in the description.
Indeed. Thank you very much. There you go, mate. We learned quite a lot today.
We did, yeah. I enjoyed that. I was well into that video as well. I mean, I like the way it was put together and the pilots.
Very clever.
Even the text on screen was very 90s, wasn't it? So,
yes.
It went with the theme.
Very good.
We'll
up
be
to whoever
back.
did that.
Yeah, thumbs up. We'll be back tomorrow for another reaction. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him over there. Wingman.
Bye.
Bye.